On everybody, happy thankful Thursday to you. It's your girl D here. Yo, so I posted a status that was asking women over 35 what's holding them back from lifting weights. So I am going to share this. Give me a second. I'm going to share this video so that it could get out to as many people as possible. And if you're tapping in, let me know where you are at. Um, and if you are over or under 35. Okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Put them in the group. Put them in the groups. Okay. And also, if you are watching this or watching the replay, let me know if you currently lift weights or not. Da, 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 da. Page at. Okay. All right. So I posed a question on Facebook, and the question is women over 35, what is holding you back from lifting heavy weights or doing resistance training? So, first, I want to say, what do I define as lifting weights? Picking something up and putting it down, something outside of your own body weight. What do I call resistance training? Sometimes lifting weights or pushing weights can be defined as resistance training as well. Sometimes we use those terms interchangeably. But sometimes resistance training is just resisting against your own body weight. So it can be body weight squats, it could be push-ups, it could be whatever you're doing on your own body weight, okay? And also the reason why I say women over 35, Giselle, you do lift weights. You do lift weights. I'm gonna talk about it. I do women over 35, obviously, because I'm over 35. And when I get to 40, I'm gonna talk about 40 and over. And this is an important topic for me because when you hit the age of 30, you start to lose between a half a percentage and a percentage of muscle mass each year just from hormone changes. This is important for you guys to know because it seems that like in our 20s and in our 30s, early 30s, we start to get hyper obsessive over cardio. And cardio is also defined as anything that gets your heart rate up to a certain level and then you sustain it there. So it's any of the machines you do at the gym, walking, running, or whatever. But we end up hyper fixated on that. And when we hit 30 and our body's already losing muscle mass, too much cardio can also aid in that. And the last thing that we need to do is to lose a substantial amount of muscle mass. A lot of women at 40 and over also, I see this on Facebook, I see comments, what can I do to boost my metabolism? What can I do to tone my body? The answer is always going to be unequivocally lift weights and do resistance training. And I'm going to always say eat your protein because you may not think it's a big deal now, especially to my ladies who are under 35. You might be like, oh, everything's optional. I can do whatever I want. Yes, that's youth. But let me tell you, one day the youth is going to flip over to aging and you'll be able to see it every day. So also, let me say, lifting weights. Everybody who does 21 days with me, everybody who does fit and bougie classes with me, lift weights. You do, okay? I always am making you do push-ups. I'm always making you pick up 5 pound weights or whatever. Now, when I say heavy weights, that's for you to determine what heavy is to you. Some of us start at a lower strength level, and let's just say 3 pounds is a challenge for somebody, and getting them to do bicep curls with 10-pound dumbbells, that's heavy weight for them. So that's subjective. That's the next part of that. And it's just very, very important for us to do in order to live healthier lives, okay? It just does not age well when you don't lift weights. So in particular, I want to talk about today people who are injured, women who are injured. What do you do about lifting weights? The common misconception when you hear lifting weights is I have to be in the gym and I have to be doing squats and I have to be doing deadlifts. We automatically think squats, deadlifts, lunges. Squats, deadlifts, lunges. That's what women think. Men might think like the bench press, they might think also deadlifts, lunges, but they definitely think machines as well. Hey, Pie. But I'm here to tell you, regardless of what your injury is, it's important to take your mindset from what I can't do to what I can do. All right. Inevitably, all of us will sustain some type of challenge, whether it is an injury to a joint or injury to a part of our body. It might be some type of surgery did. It might be childbirth or whatever. All of us will experience that, which will then affect how we moved prior to that. Okay. So I found that a lot of my ladies who have had children, the epidural has caused you to have an inability to do deadlifts or to do anything related to lower back. We have challenges when it comes to that. But I'm here to tell you there's always 35 ways to skin a cat. So what do? Let's talk about knees. Both of my knees blew out when I was 16. I hyperextended them both in the same day when I was playing soccer. And I never stopped playing soccer, and to this day I have knee issues. What do? Just because there's an exercise that causes you pain does not mean you cannot work the muscles that particular exercise works. Okay, so for example, a lot of people think squats are the most effective exercise to build the glutes. And so when that's your goal, you're like, I need to build my legs. Some people are just doing it for health, right? A strong lower body supports a strong body overall, okay? And if you can't do squats, that does not mean you can't grow your glutes. And that does not mean that if you cannot do squats, that you're not going to get the benefit like somebody who does squats. It just might take you other type of exercises to do. So I'm going to give you an example. When I crafted my BBL class, I decided to do a all lower body and glutes class that doesn't have squats in it because I understand a lot of people's knees hurt. So I use ankle weights. We use a lot of hinging at the hip exercises, hinging at the knee, but it doesn't cause pressure on the knee. So even though we might use a lighter ankle weight, we also use gravity to build the glute without you doing squats. And any of my clients on here will tell you, if you have done my BBL class, that class will target your butt more than any squat you have ever done. More than any deadlift that you've ever done. So it's important you might have to break down parts of an exercise in order to get it. So I'm going to give you a practical example. If you want to do squats, but you cannot, what's the remedy to that? You'll get on the leg extension machine at the gym, and you'll start off with a light leg extension. Sometimes for me, when my leg extensions, when you're sitting down to your knee straightens and bends, right? Sometimes my knee bothers me, and it's hard for me to straighten my knee. So what do I do in that case? I use my other leg to help support the knee that hurts to get it back down. And I'll do individual knees at that point to get it stronger, just like physical therapy, okay? So you think about physical therapy. Before you do anything heavy and you've injured a certain joint, they're going to take you through the process of getting it stronger. And sometimes that looks like range of motion. Sometimes that looks like light weight. Sometimes that looks like putting on an ankle weight and then increasing the weight when it comes to that. So that's the same thing when it comes to you being in the gym. Now, let's just say your whole lower body don't work. And we've seen people who are paraplegic. And a lot of y'all watching this are not paraplegic. There are other parts of your body you can work on. Just because your knees hurt or your knees can't handle this and that does not mean that you cannot increase your strength on your upper body. A lot of women can highly, highly benefit from simple push-ups, from bicep curls, from tricep press, from doing, lateral raises with the shoulders. You got to think to yourself, what are the other parts of my body that I can use? I'm not incapacitated. Okay? Just because you are recovering from a back injury, okay? And when I say that, I mean people who are like 3 years out. I know some of y'all that had knee replacements for 4 years ago. You still talking about my knee. It's because at some point you stop working your knee out. You stop the physical therapy. You stop doing anything with it, and now they look at you. I'm here to tell you this. Some of your injuries are never going to go away. 35, 40, 45 years old. You can't just lay down and die. Saints. Okay? So I would definitely recommend, let's just say you have a fresh knee injury. Work on your upper body. Work on your back. And increasingly get stronger. My advice when it comes to strength is every 2 weeks, test out and increase your weight. Okay? If you're at the gym and you never feel any level of soreness, you're probably not challenging yourself. There should be a threshold or a time where you should challenge yourself. And the interesting thing is, women 35 and older, y'all don't like to be inconvenienced. Y'all don't like to be sore. None of us really like it, but you guys will go away from it when I'm telling you this is not the time to slow down on your weight, increase your muscle mass. You want to strengthen your back and legs. You're a year out from 2 back surgeries. Yes. So in your case, I would definitely always talk to my doctor, physical therapist, and ask them, what movements should I avoid? That's where I would start. What movements should I avoid? And then when they give you that answer, and maybe they will say there's no movements you should avoid. In that sense, you start off working on the actual movement. And then you start with a lighter weight, but it's still lifting weights. And it's still technically lifting a heavier weight if it's already a challenge to do your own body weight. Now, inside of this, it's very, very important, ladies, 35 and older, is you have to eat your protein. When you increase your protein, dietary protein, when you increase that, you will already get the benefits of gaining muscle mass, which will help increase your metabolism, okay? To all of my ladies who are on the GLP-1 injections, the Ozempic or the Wegovy, and guys know I don't have any opinions except the fact that you need to eat protein and lift weights. Otherwise, it is not going to age well. You're going to be turning 45 and talk about 45 don't look good on me. You look 65. It's because you didn't lift no weights and you didn't eat no protein. So to start off with, even if you're injured, you can do this because we know you got a lot of time to eat when you're injured. At least 35 grams of protein every time you eat. Period. Okay? At least. Period. Very, 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 very important. And I'm here to also tell you, after December will make 21 years of training women for me. After 21 years, I'm telling you this, that if you don't do anything, you will not get stronger. And you take it to the bank, take my certifications, take my degrees, okay? If you do not start lifting weights and doing your physical therapy and working on your range of motion and stretching, it will not get better, okay? 35, because the mortality rate in the U.S. is 76 years old, once you hit 35, you're middle age. You're middle age, okay? So it's very, very important for you to start lifting weights. Now I'm going to get a little bit more technical, and you guys stay with me on this. If for whatever reason you can't lift heavy. So this time last year, I was able to deadlift 350 pounds, 400 pounds. Right. Now, I could probably only deadlift maybe like 150, okay? Because my back is being interesting. So what's the remedy for me, okay? Is number one, I always prioritize my recovery. I always have a plan for recovery. Recovery does not mean stop, but recovery is important. And it's important to also understand that you need to be lifting weights or doing resistance training 2 to 3 times out the week, okay? Keisha, you lifting weights, boo. That's why I don't think that you have to do anything different from what I teach you in 21 days. When we do an exercise in 21 days, you can just go to crunch, do similar exercises, but just with a heavier dumbbell, right? That's it. Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. Okay? Now, one of the other variables of gaining muscle mass that's an alternative to lifting heavy is what we call time under tension, or TUT. Time under tension is basically your muscles under tension for a certain amount of time that will promote muscle growth. So when we do, let's just say 21 days, and you have 3 to 5 pound weights, maybe you have 2 pound weights, at any point, maybe we're doing 100 reps, we're doing 150 reps. Or when Jihad's like, we're going to do 4 minutes of this, time under tension. You still are going to gain muscle even when you're doing light weights, but for a long time. So I'm going to give you another example. When you're doing Pilates, right? When we're doing Pilates, we're doing lots of core work. Maybe we're doing thousands of reps of core work and back work. Because that muscle group is under tension for a long time, it still promotes muscle growth. This is why when I weigh my clients in, even though I don't have heavy weights at the studio, you still see an increase of your muscle mass because your nutrition is on point, you're eating your protein, and time under tension when we do our weights and our resistance training. So we have buns and guns tonight. I'm going to tell you to put these ankle weights on. You're going to choose 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 7.5 pounds. But because it's gravity and that weight, time under tension, and I have you doing those leg exercises for a minute straight, time under tension, you're still experiencing an increase of muscle mass. So even if you're injured, let's just say your upper body, you still can get light weights at home. You're just going to have to do it a lot. And that's okay. All right, Jessica. So I wanted to share that. Kieta said her legs crash every week. Yeah, so I think that we just have a misunderstanding to think that you only are going to get benefits off of lifting a heavy weight that we see other people do. Like, unless I put 45s on each side of this machine, I'm not going to get the benefits. I'm going to give you another example. This is going to blow y'all's mind. Is that when you see people who do bodybuilding, okay? I used to do this back in my early 20s. Back when you see people who train in bodybuilding and you look at their training plans, a lot of times it's not that they are strong. The strongest person is not the biggest person. That's why women, you think, I don't want to lift heavy weights. I don't want to lift weights because I'm going to look like a man. Well, the gag is that the people who look like men don't even lift heavy weights. Let's talk about it, right? The thing about bodybuilding is time under tension. They might go in the gym and their coach says, you need to work on your back a little bit more. Your back needs to be a little bit wider at the top, right? And they will absolutely demolish their back in the gym doing certain exercises, and it may not ever be heavy, because muscle gain does not mean that your weights have to be heavy. A lot of times it is doing the time under tension, and it's lifting weights for years and also having the nutrition to back it up. And ladies, you're not going to look like a man, because the average woman is not going to be consistent in weightlifting like that, and you're not going to do steroids. You're not going to do drugs in order to look like a man. You're not going to inject yourself with more testosterone, more human growth hormone. You're not going to do that. The average woman is going to go have a lemon drop. You're going to be eating some crab legs, and you're going to be kicking it at brunch, and then you're going to be lifting weights maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And let me tell you this: you're never going to look like you're never going to look like a man doing that. In fact, you're not even going to be like shredded ever. Okay, if you have that type of lifestyle. So I hope that was helpful. So I'm going to do a recap. The recap is lifting weights is not explicitly heavy, and there's no number that constituted as heavy. That's number one. Number two, lifting weights does not have to occur at home. That's number two. Number three, if you are injured and you can't do squats or lunges or deadlifts, you just have to break down those body parts and train them separately. Okay? How do you do that if you are amateur? This is what you're going to do. You're going to go on www.chatgpt.com and you're going to say, create me a leg workout, a beginner's leg. This is what you're going to put in the prompt. You're going to say, create me a leg workout, or create me a 15-minute leg workout that does not involve squats, deadlifts, or lunges because I have knee injuries. Make this workout plan so that I gain muscle. And then press enter. And ChatGPT is going to give you a full workout plan to build your legs without doing squats, deadlifts, or whatever, squats or deadlifts, okay? So I hope that's helpful. I like to use ChatGPT a lot just to answer my questions so I don't have to use my brain, but that's what I would do. So, ladies over 35, please lift weights. Our goal is to maintain our muscle mass for the rest of our life. That's what I be looking at y'all's numbers, okay? So that means you got to eat your protein, at least 35 grams of protein every time you open your mouth, okay? Thank you, even if you're eating crab legs. I need you to know how much protein you're getting. I love y'all. I got to get ready for class and make some more hydration. Have a great day. Hope that helps. That's your vitamin D for free.